Hello and welcome. I'm KJ and this is Swally,
Hello again,
also known as Swals.
Bob Swallyman.
Bob Swallyman. You're listening to UnMaddening, where we unpack the madness of society, one necessary word at a time. The word of the day, it's a big one, fundamental.
I thought you were going to say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious because you said a big word.
Well, maybe another day.
Maybe another day.
Fundamental means forming a necessary base or core of central importance, like affecting or relating to the essential nature of something or the crucial point about an issue. For example, the fundamental problem remains that of the housing shortage. I love these examples because they're really relevant, but I don't make them up. They just come when you see them. It's just there. It's just like a little nugget of wisdom for you. Also, it says, so basic as to be hard to alter, resolve, or overcome. Example here is the theories are based on a fundamental error. Another fun one.
Yes.
Another sort of
It's
definition
just fundamental, isn't it?
for fundamental is central or primary rule or principle on which something is based. So we have some similar words out: basic, foundational, or essential. And then our antonyms for fundamental are secondary and unimportant. Okay, so the AI overview for a search of the word fundamental says...
So just what are we going to use the AI overview for? What type of fundamental is that?
Oh, that's right. We'll see. We're going to see what happens. In a general context, a fundamental is a core principle, building block, or essential rule upon which a system is based. Here's how the term is defined across different fields. Finance and economics, it says the underlying data that determines an asset's value, such as earnings, interest rates, and GDP growth. Investors use fundamental analysis to see if a stock is honestly, finger quote, priced. In physics, the most basic components of the universe that cannot be broken down further, like quarks or electrons, these are fundamental particles. In law, core rights deemed essential to a free society, often protected by a constitution. For example, fundamental rights. And in music swirls, your fave, the lowest frequency of a periodic waveform which determines the pitch you hear.
Doof, doof.
Uns. What is it? Cats and dogs and cats and dogs.
Yeah, cats and dogs and cats and dogs. Yeah.
All right, so in current news of the word fundamental, I did a little search on what fundamental things have shaped humanity. Not society, but humanity.
Okay.
I went the other direction.
Go
So
the
we
other
have
direction.
the scientific...
It's a less maddening.
Well,
We'll see what
I'd
you've
like
got.
to
We'll
say
see what
that
you've
that's
got.
true, but you never know. Although the scientific revolution is the first thing that comes up from the 1500s. Pretty important. Industrial revolution from the 1760s. And then we have the rule of law and human rights. And then the digital/AI revolution from it says 1950s to now is our digital AI revolution time, which is a fundamental thing shaping humanity. So I then went, all right, well, what about just in the land down under? What about in Australia? What's fundamentally important for Oz? And searched what are Australia's fundamental beliefs, which is like such a loaded question.
We've done that before, haven't we?
Well, we did touch on this a while back in the morality episode, when the answer was pointing to Australia's value statement. So I'll just read the headings as a little brief refresher
go for it.
on what are Australia's fundamental beliefs. Core democratic beliefs are parliamentary democracy, the rule of law, where all people are equal under the law and no person or group is above it, including those in power. Praise be.
Democracy. Is that when they can say, no, we're not going to talk about this?
It says parliamentary democracy is a belief in a system where laws are determined by elected parliaments and the power of government comes from the people.
Yep.
allegedly.
I heard that one before.
The last one in the core democratic beliefs that are Australia's fundamental beliefs, it says peaceful change, which is a commitment to resolving differences through discussion and the democratic process rather than violence. These are Australia's fundamental beliefs. We also have individual freedoms, so freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association.
Except for when there's a declared pandemic, then you have none of those
No,
things.
you're not allowed to have any of them. You also have social principles. So you got like the fair go concept, which again, we talked about this in the morality, equal opportunity, mutual respect and tolerance, mateship and compassion. And then under the banner of shared obligations for the fundamental beliefs of the nation of Australia, you have English as the national language, which is recognised as an important unifying element that enables full participation in society. Yes. Loyalty to Australia. Citizens pledge loyalty to the nation and its people and a commitment not to undermine its security.
Yeah, I think they're good values.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with them.
They don't necessarily unfold like that in
No, not like
in
we
real
see
time.
them happen all the time. But,
But on paper,
on paper.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, everything looks good on paper.
Yeah. I then looked up what are Australia's fundamental problems. It's like, okay, what are our beliefs, and then where are we not succeeding
How many
here?
pages did you write down for this one?
A few. In 2026, Australia's fundamental problems are increasingly seen as, quote, wicked problems. It then says complex, interconnected challenges where solutions in one area often create pressures in another. No doy. The first one is the housing crisis and generational inequity. The most acute issue is a chronic housing shortfall, with Australia forecast to fall 262,000 homes short of its national building targets by 2029. We then have a bit of a chat about affordability, where housing costs have risen to over 10 times the average annual income.
Well, it goes alongside with the petrol prices at the moment, doesn't it? Yeah.
Doesn't it? Compared to just 3.3 times in the 1980s. So 10 times the average annual income now.
Yeah.
40 years ago, 3.3 times. Insane. There's the rental generation as a term here, which is a growing divide has emerged between those with intergenerational wealth, in brackets here, parents who can provide deposits, and a rental generation facing permanent housing instability. It just comes back on the parents. So, it's intergenerational wealth. If the parents can pay for the deposit for me, then I can have it. But if my parents can't, then I can't. But you could probs go and work and make some money yourself.
How does this even fit into the whole Klaus's you'll have nothing and be happy scenario? I mean, this is just playing right into straight between the goals.
Yeah. It's a good one. Supply choke. Construction is hampered by high material costs, workforce shortages, and numbers that don't stack up for developers due to regulatory fees. That was just that is literally just in the search. What are Australia's fundamental problems? And those things we just spoke about are just in point one, the housing crisis and generational inequity.
And how do we solve these issues?
Well, that's up to our elected leaders, is it not?
That's up to the democracy of the... Yes.
The second point is to do with cost of living and economic stagnation, which was already kind of touched on in the first problem because they're all intertwined. Economic pressure remains the top concern for 65% of Australians, with sticky inflation. Global inflation has eased. Well, domestic services inflation remains stubborn. You have productivity slump. Australia has suffered an abysmal productivity record over the last decade, limiting real wage growth and making it harder to fund public services. And then there's this thing called the lucky country risk. Experts warn Australia's reliance on three commodities, iron ore, coal and gas, is a deep but narrow lifeboat that may fail as the world shifts toward net zero. Why are we going there?
We're not, because everyone's dumped that already.
Well, nobody can go there.
It's unobtainable.
And unnecessary. The third point here, where Australia's failing: Indigenous disadvantage and rights, probably. Despite the Closing the Gap initiative, fundamental gaps in health, housing and justice persist. Yes. Over-representation. Indigenous Australians remain severely overrepresented in the criminal justice system and face a minimum age of criminal responsibility as low as 10 in some states. And then housing quality. Approximately 13% of Indigenous households have unmet housing needs, with overcrowding in remote areas, preach, contributing to higher rates of infectious disease.
Yeah.
These are some pretty fundamental stuff-ups, Australia. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in just talking about that, I think it's forced oppression anyway, that the fact that you're separately segregating them in that manner as well. Like, to have a whole system just focused on that, it's just forced oppression. And,
Just repeating the mistakes from
we're,
before.
we all bleed the same blood. Let's treat everyone the same. Let's treat everyone nice and equally as we should be.
Well, yes. There's some pretty big injustices in that.
There's been some terrible injustices.
I don't want the DEI people on the team, but you do need good leadership in those groups that actually understand what is going on in their own communities and what they need, and they need to have better representation.
You can't fix the injustices, and you can't move forward from it if you're just continuing to do the same thing over and over. Because that segregation, you've got separate health systems and stuff. It's still the same segregation, just in a different.
I agree.
Different coat.
I do agree with you.
Same thing.
It's like under this cloak of, we're doing this for you, but are you even asking them what they want and need?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, moving on. Climate change and energy transition as a fundamental flaw. Australia is on the front line of climate impacts, which have moved from environmental threats to existential risks. Extreme weather projections for 2026 and beyond indicate more intense heat waves, bushfires and flash flooding. A little bit of that going on this year so far, haven't we, in the land of Oz?
Is that because we're in a La Nina or El Nino?
No,
and it changes all the
time.
I'm not buying into the climate change.
Well,
it's not.
I mean, El Nino and La Nina, they are real things.
They're real things, yes. And that's what. Now we're going to go into extra rain, and now we're going to go into extra heat.
It's an ice age. It's coming for you.
Yeah, no.
Energy transition part says we have an energy insecurity, where business leaders report falling confidence in the reliability and affordability of the energy grid during the transition away from fossil fuels, which is still, like, it's what you just said before. Why are we still leaning in this direction? Just use what you have, you maniacs. And the fifth point is demographic and healthcare strain. The ageing population, a swelling rank of retirees, is driving up the cost of healthcare and aged care, placing a heavier tax burden on a shrinking share of working age citizens. I'm sorry, did you want them all to die sooner? I know there was a little bit of a plan you all had a few years ago to do that, and it hasn't worked. And, science is pretty cool, and so people are living longer, and it's now a negative stain on us that we can't, we haven't got enough resources to look after these awesome people with so many things to teach us.
And there is a lot that I think we touched on this once before with the drive in a younger generation, the forthcoming generation now, and the drive and the lack of drive and the lack of productivity, basically. And that's, that can be sort of some things that are coming from there.
Yeah.
Maybe invest in the training.
Furthermore to that healthcare strain, it talks about the regional decline, which is the rural areas facing severe healthcare shortages. And don't we all know about it in the places we've lived?
Yeah.
With wait times for specialists often exceeding 2 years.
Well, there's no drivers for them to come out to these locations.
No.
But we're constantly urban expansion all the time, and that's just what we get.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a bit sad. So that was the sucky side of it. But I did also ask, what are Australia's fundamental strengths?
Yes. Let's get on a positive note.
Yeah, well, okay, I'm trying.
Yeah, go. But keep trying, because we'll get there.
It just tells you whatever it wants to tell you. Australia's core strengths lie in its vast natural resources, high standard of living, and a remarkably resilient Institutional framework. Point 1 being resource and energy endowment. Australia is a global powerhouse in the commodities that fuel both current and future economies. It talks about critical minerals. World's largest producer of lithium and a top producer of cobalt, nickel and rare earths, making it indispensable to the global green energy transition.
We're one of the greatest resources in the rare earths.
Yeah, we're going to solve the energy crisis just from us.
But
never mind what everyone else is doing.
Also a problem that we rely on the minerals that we produce. Oh, okay.
Traditional exports. It remains a dominant exporter, it being Australia, of iron ore, coal and LNG, which provide a massive buffer for the national budget and trade balance. Well done, Australia.
Yeah.
Renewable potential. With some of the highest solar radiation per square metre in the world, Australia is positioned to become a renewable energy superpower through green hydrogen and solar exports.
We just cover the country in solar panels, so it'd be wonderful. Come to the great Australian outback and look at our solar panels.
All our plants will die. Yeah. We'll have no underwater aquifer systems,
you know how
but we'll have panels for days.
Yes, and you know how you go to Australia and you got these key places and you got the big banana and all that, and you go right into the middle and there's the big solar panel.
It'll be not just right in the middle, it'll be in every country town.
People will be coming
on the backside of every farm, disturbing all of the underwater for every one of these farmers.
We could completely lean into tourism here. Come to Australia and come and see the big solar panel. Who was that person that did the video, the Australian tourism video?
Oh, Lara Bingle, Where the Bloody Hell Are You campaign? Yeah.
Have a look at our solar panels.
From the top, like your satellite imagery, when you look down at Australia, it'll just be like this one big solar panel.
Shiny black.
Just reflecting everything back, not messing with the climate in any way, shape or form.
That's right.
Oh, dear. We also have...
I think that's a winner.
Institutional and economic stability is another one of the fundamental strengths listed here. It says the lucky country is underpinned by some of the world's most stable governance systems. We've got the AAA rating. Mm-hmm. Australia is one of only a handful of nations to maintain a AAA credit rating from all three major agencies, reflecting strong fiscal management. Wow. We have a good super system with compulsory superannuation, rule of law, a transparent legal system and low levels of corruption make it a top-tier destination for foreign direct investment. More strengths are in human capital and social cohesion. It says, despite current debates, Australia's social fabric remains a fundamental asset. Thoughts?
And I don't think I want to touch that debate now.
Okay. I'll just read you the key points. Successful multiculturalism.
Yep, okay.
Australia is one of the most successful multicultural societies on earth. Over half the population was either born overseas or has a parent born overseas, creating a globally connected workforce. Yeah, we have high education standards. Sorry to cut you off, but I don't think you should go there. Yeah. The university sector is a major service export, with several institutions consistently ranked in the top 50 globally. All those people with sociology degrees. What jobs are coming for you? Yeah. And the fair go ethos. Deep-seated cultural belief in a strong social safety net, including Medicare, helps maintain social stability compared to other developed nations.
I think we do have a better healthcare system than other developed nations, but it still could be better. Everything can be better.
Well, look, rural will always suffer.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of the beast. We're a pretty big place, but I haven't lived long-term enough in other countries to know how that rolls out for them, so I can't really remark on that. But according to the interweb, it's pretty good. And fourthly, on the positives here for our fundamental strengths, strategic geography. The Indo-Pacific Gateway. Australia's location provides a secure, stable base for trade with the world's fastest-growing economies in Southeast Asia and India. And we have sovereign space, vast amounts of land, and a maritime exclusive economic zone, the third largest in the world, provide immense security in terms of food, energy and defence. And as you said, all that space for solar panels. Vast.
You could float
vast.
solar panels in the sea.
You could. You could in your maritime exclusive economic zone.
Exclusive space. Yeah, the corals will die, but that's all right.
Oh, dear. Sorry, Australia. On a broader term of humanity as a whole, I looked for an answer for, fundamental hard truths about humanity. Yeah. And I typed this into the AI thingo, and it actually took a little bit of time to answer. Like, normally you punch it in and goes, spits it back out of you. Mm-hmm. It thought for a bit. It was like, I don't know how to answer this. The question was, what are fundamental hard truths about humanity? And I guess it didn't want to offend me.
No. It would have been thinking, it was like, you're trying to slip me up here.
I wasn't sure, but it was funny. It was funny that it took a little bit of time.
Just tries to appease.
Yeah. It said, examining the human experience reveals some fundamental challenges and complexities that are often considered hard truths.
Oh, it gave you a political answer.
These aspects of our existence are not always easy to confront, but are significant parts of what it means to be human. It's talking about the challenge of meaning and purpose. One fundamental truth is the human search for meaning and purpose in a vast and often indifferent universe. While we create meaning through relationships, work, and personal values, the existential questioning of our place and significance is a persistent aspect of human consciousness. You just need God. There's the answer for that one.
Just listening to that response, that was such a political response. It just answered your question with another question. It's 2027 for AI for Prime Minister. Yeah.
We've got the reality of suffering and loss. Suffering and loss are inherent parts of the human condition. Experiencing pain, grief, and disappointment is universal, and confronting this reality requires resilience and coping mechanisms. While challenging, these experiences can also lead to growth, empathy, and a deeper appreciation for life. What was the question? I asked it again. What are fundamental hard truths? Okay. The complexity of human relationships. Relationships are vital to human well-being, but they are also complex and can be a source of difficulty. Navigating differences, managing expectations, and dealing with conflict are inherent challenges in our interactions with others, highlighting the intricate nature of human connection. You're so right that every one of these sort of things that spits out is all these just automatic political non-answers.
Yeah, that's right. But
yeah, that's why I had to think about it for a minute. It's like, I'll tell you, but I don't want to say that you guys actually really suck because I kind of need you. Yeah. The struggle
don't want to destroy us yet.
Not yet. No.
The machines will take over eventually. But,
The struggle for self-acceptance. Many people grapple with self-doubt, insecurity, and the challenge of accepting themselves fully. The pursuit of self-acceptance is a journey that often involves, I should do this in a different voice, often involves confronting imperfections and vulnerabilities, and is a fundamental aspect of personal growth. Better?
Yeah, and it's exactly what the response it's giving you is. It's just some airy-fairy rubbish.
The inevitability of change and impermanence. The world and everything in it are constantly changing. Accepting the impermanence of life, relationships, and circumstances can be a difficult truth. Doi! Learning to adapt to change and navigate transitions is a continuous human process. These are just a few examples of fundamental truths about humanity. Adapt. Yeah. Exploring these aspects can lead to a deeper understanding, Swells, of ourselves and the world around us. Goodness me.
Do the voicing, a deeper understanding of ourselves.
I won't do the voice now because what I next have up is the biblical fundamental truths.
Yes.
The nature of God. There is one God.
And how simple are the biblical
They're really good.
Truths?
Yeah.
So it's just like,
The nature of God, the Trinity. One God who exists eternally in three distinct persons, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The deity and humanity of Christ. Jesus is fully God and fully man. And the fall and sinful nature of man. Humanity created in God's image but fell into sin. Consequently, every human is born with a sinful nature that separates them from a holy God. And fourthly, salvation by grace through faith. This is the hard truth of the gospel. Humans cannot save themselves through good works. Salvation is a free gift from God, received only through faith in the sacrifice.
There's only one way.
Jesus. You have some other points there, like the atonement, of Jesus being a substitute for all of humanity, taking the punishment for sin. The bodily resurrection, pretty important. The authority of Scripture being the final fundamental biblical truth there. The Bible being the inspired, infallible word of God and the final authority for all matters of faith and conduct.
And whole
and there you go.
Complete.
And that was a little bit of a chat about the word fundamental.
Yeah, it's very fundamental. Well, you can use fundamental for many words.
You can use it wherever you like, whenever you like.
Throw it in there.
I've got a bit of a vintage culture appreciation thing here, but it's kind of a long one. Do you want to just do it another time, or do you want to hear about it? It goes for a bit.
Does it?
Yeah.
Give us the overview. Go on.
Oh, I can't, because it's got really good information in it.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about fundamental building blocks, right? And it had me thinking about the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. I think we'll leave the Rubik's Cube for another one. I think it's a great one. But some fundamental things from your childhood, talking about toys and things like that. What fundamental toys did you have?
What were like the core things that existed?
Yeah.
Well, there's always a ball. I mean, you got to have a ball.
Yeah.
Basket,
and I think
soccer,
that's
whatever
stood
it might
the test
be.
of time. There's always, if you have a ball in your car, there's so many opportunities, so many different things. You go to the
Tennis
park,
ball, basketball,
you just got a tennis ball,
soccer
you can play
ball,
catch.
Baseball, all the balls.
Did you used to have a tennis ball and just, you didn't have a bat or anything, just pick up a stick and start hitting it with sticks?
Oh, yeah, or if you're grounded or you've been sent to your room, but you have a ball in your room, you can just lie in your bed feeling sorry for yourself, throw it up in the air and catch it as many times as you can. Balls are great.
Did you remember, like, say cricket? Do you remember the bins being used as stumps?
Yeah,
do you
of course.
Remember that? Yeah. And I think one of the fast food things, they ended up printing stickers that you could stick on your wheelie bins.
I have seen a couple of those about the place. I certainly didn't have them myself.
In the 90s or...
Yeah, I don't know.
I remember
I feel like
that
was a KFC thing.
I think so, yeah.
But I don't know.
We're not sponsored by KFC, by the way. We're not sponsored by anyone, so like and subscribe. And if you want to sponsor us, give us a call.
So there's always a ball. There's little girls in my house when I was a kid, so we had skipping ropes and bikes, rollerblades.
Yeah. Wooden toys. I mean, we bought the wooden toys for our kids, and they were a fundamental staple from way back, and they still hold fast now.
Yeah.
They're still good now.
Yeah, we handed them down. They keep going.
They keep going. The only difference that's changed is they stopped making them out of wood and made it out of plastic, something cheaper. Still, cars are fundamental things. Dolls are a fundamental toy.
Well, all the Barbies and the little trucks and things that we had. Yeah, no, you made me rack my brain of like what were the ones that we were using all the time. But a lot of it was just like figuring out weird games that you're going to play in the backyard.
That's right. Your imagination is probably your most fundamental toy.
Yeah. Yes.
Go and jump on a tree and, I'm the king of the castle. And,
yeah.
I've jumped from some big trees before and thought, I'm skydiving or flying.
Well, as cool as it is to have a ball or an object, like sticks, rocks, anything.
Your mind.
You can turn them into whatever you like. Yeah. Like you pick that stick up and now it's a sword.
Yeah, that's
right. Or it's a saber or whatever you want it to be. Yeah. Quite true.
But if you've got any interesting, stories or games that you've developed with your own mind, leave them in the comments. Some fundamental games that you used to play.
Yeah. And your thoughts about the fundamental truths about Australia and where we're going and the fundamental truths of humanity and the biblical fundamental truths, which I hope if you're not sure about them, you'll have a squiz.
Yeah.
Check it out. Anyway, that was fun.
And always.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time, and until then, God bless and peace out.
This content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. We are not financial advisors, mining magnates, pastors, or politicians. You are not more likely to suck less or try harder having listened to these shenanigans.